Welcome to TradeTheNBA.com. This is John's reports for the 29th. Well, coming off the holiday, we could see there was some weakness building into it from an intraday chart, particularly the 50K was setting up that way. But from a daily standpoint, now we're at the critical stage here because if white does close above yellow, then you have a clean short setup now. Will it have much progression with the gold shakeout rising? Probably not so much, but definitely would be a clear indication that below the ABM yellow, which currently is at 53.13, slightly short of that. Below that is definitely short, and you're likely to see any move that comes down towards that 76 or the ABM green. Probably not going to hold, but will it carry through? Well, we'll have to see if there's a progression in the negative reading of that, but certainly expresses some weakness within there. Not quite as weak from a NASDAQ standpoint, and that's the big difference. So you're going to get an irregularity with it. And since both markets aren't really agreeing, I think that it's likely that one could hold the other up. In this case, most likely the NASDAQ would be the firmer pinning. But if we start to see an increase in short activity, we would notice it here from the NBI white, and it's just not happening. So not as much a fear there. But bond market starting to wake up a little bit, realizing the Fed really isn't going to probably do anything, in which case they're way outside the range that rates should be at. And that also puts pressure on the market because that poor performance of treasuries, there's just no foreign buyers. I mean, like I've said, there is absolutely zero reason why you would buy a treasury given what the yield is relative to inflation, and that it just makes no sense whatsoever. So uh, that caused yields to climb a bit, and they've got a long way to go before it's attractive for anyone. So that forces money into the market or into commodities. In this case, oil pushing right back up to back over the 80 marker, and it should continue to rise. You're still continuing to see issues with transport. Through the Middle East area, which is forcing long bouts, and in the U.S.'s support of Ukrainians going after energy facilities in Russia, it could create a significant squeeze, and that would just escalate oil dramatically. The idea that economies are doing so well, we would definitely see a bigger draw in inventories than we have. So that's a little bit of a disconnect. So we have to continue to follow that one to see how that pans out. But and this is part of what I expected with that irregular kind of movement from the economies, where certain sectors are just having difficulty, and it becomes the state by state kind of issue. As some areas are failing, others are improving, and you just kind of get this malaise, which is sort of kind of exactly what stagflation is like. From a euro standpoint, it's elevated. Everyone's idea that the ECB would be able to cut rates also fading fast. Inflation in the eurozone not as bad in America as it is in America, but still too high for them to really do anything. And from a gold standpoint, it's going to continue its edge back up. So there's no question with that. And the same with the other commodities from cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's still a bit flat, not really doing a whole lot much. ETH has been the big mover with these grand estimates of 40,000 for a price tag for it. Uh, and there's never been any question the utility from a ETH standpoint is definitely there. Um, so when I talk about the weakness was being expressed early on, we had the magenta dip below, white across. But what I even look at too is the gray, particularly when rising gold, MBI from a shakeout, which is usually bullish. We ended up with a lower pivot of the gray, and you'll find those situations where you get higher pivots versus lower pivots, and you get a bit of a drawdown. In this particular case, we could see that that was building pretty clean. And then as long as you get NBI white that continues to lead, it stays fairly soft. Magenta kind of took over, and we had the blue cross back above, and that led to a spike. But now we've got NBI white leading, and boom, there you go. It's a pretty good size single bar here right now in post market, well, in pre market before Tuesday's open. So actually, it's Wednesday now. So the holiday throws everything off. Regardless, I would expect that the 0% to be retested as down at the 73 range. So could be a bit more interesting, particularly as we end the month. There's going to be some rebalancing and repositioning of where to go as we enter the summer months and begin the election cycle. It'll be interesting to see how, if there's any reaction from the Trump verdict that will be happening coming into sometime either at the end of the week or next week. So everyone will be eyes on how the political scene is going to affect trade. You can see from an intraday it was soft, stayed soft, and then towards the end of the day just faded completely. And here in the post market, we're just getting nothing but sell action. There's just no excitement to do anything at this particular stage. So everyone's going to wait for some kind of data to lift or further scare situation. So that's the long and the short of it for now. As always, anything relevant, I'll put on the Skype chat. Have a good one. Trade well.